And it's not about who's the complainant and who are the accused, but it's about the process of Hockey Canada. And it has to break
their failure to tell certain individuals who were in charge of, the Heritage Foundation or whatever it is, like there was like government people who should have been informed.
Yeah, so it was all kind of secretive. And so, some people who watch our podcast might say that, this is a situation where I think, there needs to be transparency and balance. And this is where you truly will see play out. Is there something special about Hockey Canada and these teams where they're going to silence what is a real complaint? And that's bad. That's bad. That can't happen.
But on the other hand, what I've seen is that Hockey Canada is saying they're going to take a zero tolerance thing, that there's going to be immediate action before there's any findings of guilt or whatever. And but more concerningly, I'm not sure they did this whole public statement, which I remember reading and thinking this is horrifying in terms of presumption of innocence. But they're now stating that they're going to suspend or eject from the league anybody who will not participate and give a statement, even if it's one of the accused hockey players.
Okay, so let's separate this and let's just break this down for a moment. I think what's important to take away from this is, there has been, and, often we say about due process. And so where there is a complaint and there's not a legitimate investigation by police, that's something that has to be scrutinized. 2, if it's an organization, they have to investigate and stand down from a police investigation. And there has to be fairness in this process. And it may not have happened. Now,
there's a difference in internal investigations and the way the government goes about prosecuting people, where you don't get disclosure. And I've helped people with tribunals in universities, in various workplaces and so on.
Yeah.
And the problem is that these third-party investigators are brought in and they are given complete authority to run the investigation in any way they deem appropriate. And they will often refuse to give an accused person the actual statement against them. So you're compelled in order to keep your job or your vocation, your ability to play a sport. If you want to continue doing that, you are compelled to answer questions without ever being told the full accusation against you. And you can't cross-examine the witness.
Okay, so let's differentiate. So what Diana's talking about is a labor sort of relations, employment related investigation. So within a corporation, like Hockey Canada, there can be an internal investigation. You can request a person who's been accused of some wrongdoing to participate. If they don't participate, it can result in their dismissal. Bye-bye.
Right.
But it's not
very strongly worded from what I've seen.
That's correct. But it's not...
You don't have to answer our questions, but if you don't, your entire career is gone.
And you're not entitled to... Most of the time, you're not entitled to any details of the allegation, but you may get a summary of it.
Yeah, a really brief summary.
But this is employment
assume
law.
Is accurate.
It's not state action. So this is where we have to be very careful.
And they're not subject to the Constitution.
The Charter, right? So we have to be very careful about how we delineate this. And why this is so high profile is because it's Hockey Canada and how it went about with public funds to settle a civil action. And there's a lot of conflation here about whose responsibility is to do what. So I think everybody has to take a step back. And a settlement is not an admission of guilt. Not necessarily. So it's been a rough few weeks for Hockey Canada, and I think they've learned from some of these issues, especially about settlements and transparency. But we have to be very careful about protecting due process rights for those who may be involved or alleged to have participated in the allegation.
One of the things I noticed is that the police investigated and closed the investigation, and
we
then
don't know
now
why.
It's reopened.
Yeah, so because of the controversy which is going on, the investigation is reopened. And a new investigation has unfolded from a 2003 allegation.
From a different team.
In Halifax.
Different players. Yeah.
Right, where that's come forward. So this can be good or bad. Again, we take the position that if there's legitimate allegations and it's been covered up or buried, that's wrong. There has to be transparency. There has to be a full investigation.
What about this culture of silence thing? So,
yeah, what does that mean?
That it assumes guilt, first of all, saying that they're covering up for guilty people.
Well, the association is.
Yeah, they're saying they're covering up for guilty people, letting them get away with it with impunity and so on. But the reason that you might not want to actually make these things public is because if somebody is being falsely accused, they're going to be pressured out of the sport anyway. Like, there's a reason to protect the privacy
in every other sphere
and integrity of the accused people as well. It's not just like the privacy and identity of complainants and so on, but, let's say there's 8 accused players. Let's say, let's give the benefit of the doubt, we'll split it. Let's say 4 of them were guilty and 4 of them were innocent. What about the 4 innocent guys?
Well, you see right now that certain players are coming out, or former players are coming out with statements saying, I was not there, I was not involved, right? Precisely because of that pressure.